Hey there, I am so happy to see you. Thank you for joining me today. This is a quick yoga flow, a little bit of twisting, a little bit of this, a little bit of everything. We're going to go ahead and get started on our backs. So go ahead and come to lie on your back. Bring the soles of your feet together to touch, knees out wide, left hand on your heart, right hand on your belly, Supta Konasana. And we're going to take a few cleansing breaths here. Deep inhale through the nose, fill up, open mouth, exhale, let go. Again, inhale, fill up, open mouth, exhale, let go of anything you don't need in your practice today. Let's take one more round, cleansing breath, filling up even fuller than you have the previous two rounds. And a deeper, more cleansing, emptying, open mouth, exhale. Still your lips closed. Continue to take powerful inhales through the nose and powerful exhales through the nose. On your next inhale, blink your eyes open if they weren't already open. And on your exhale, draw both knees into your chest. Take an inhale here, and as you exhale, lengthen your left leg. Hug your right knee into your chest. And as you exhale, gentle twist. Right knee over to the left, not wrenching, resting on the big toe. Inhale back through center, exhale, hug both knees in. Take an inhale, and as you exhale, extend your right leg. Hug the left knee in. Inhale, and exhale, gentle twist. Right knee over to the left, gaze could be up or towards the left hand. Very gentle in this first twist. Inhale back through center, hug the knees in, cross the ankles, and rock and roll a few times the length of your spine, and we'll meet in a tabletop position on all fours. So stacking shoulders over wrists, hips over knees. We're going to do some hip circles. Take an inhale breath. And as you exhale, draw your right hip back towards your right heel, over towards the left. And then inhale up through center. And exhale once again. Right hip, right heel, left hip, left heel. And then inhale as you come back to center. Hold, and then we'll switch directions. So this time our exhale brings our left hip back to our left heel. Circle it around. Inhale as you come forward to the right, to the left, and then exhale, right, left hip, left heel. Last time here, making it feel good. Inhale, come back through center. Walk your hands out about a handprint distance from where they were. Tuck your toes. Hover your knees for just a moment. Exhale, hips back towards heels. And inhale, downward facing dog. Pedaling out your feet, finding any movement that feels good to you here. Pressing your palms into the mat, forward and away from you. We're going to do a little flow here. Inhale to plank. Exhale, bend your knees. Pivot your heels over towards the left. Inhale, downward facing dog. Exhale, plank. Inhale. And then exhale, heels to the right. Draw your hips back towards your heels. Inhale, downward facing dog. Exhale, high plank. We're going to go over to the left again. Bend the knees. Pivot on the toes. Heels over towards the left. Inhale, downward facing dog. Exhale, plank. And then pivot, heels towards the right. Coming back into downward facing dog. We're going to hold for 3 breaths. So whatever feels good to you here, pedaling out the feet or finding some stillness. Bring your gaze back towards your belly button or between your feet. Take an inhale, breath, gaze forward. And as you exhale, step your feet behind your hands, forward fold. Bending your knees as deeply as you need here. Inhale, root to rise, Tadasana mountain pose. A powerful standing here, lifting through the inner thighs. Exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Step your left foot back, low lunge. Surrender the knee to the mat. Inhale, crescent lunge, stacking your shoulders over your hips. Exhale, palms to heart center. Gentle twist to the right. Inhale, back to crescent lunge. And exhale, windmill the palms. Tuck the back toes, high plank, top of a push-up. Inhale, shift forward. Exhale, lower all the way down to your belly. And inhale, cobra pose. Hug those elbows in like little cricket wings. Exhale, lower. Inhale, high plank. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, gaze forward. Exhale, step or float, feet behind hands, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back, lengthen from the tailbone to the crown of the head. Exhale, fold, and inhale, powerfully root to rise, Tadasana, mountain pose. Hug your bum in. Exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, step the right foot back, low lunge. Surrender the right knee down, and inhale, rise, crescent lunge. Exhale, palms to heart center. Revolved crescent. Lengthen as you twist. Bring the right elbow to the outside of the left knee. Gaze towards the left. Inhale, crescent lunge. Exhale, windmill the palms. Tuck the back toes, step back, high plank. Inhale, shift forward. Exhale, either chaturanga or cobra. From your belly, inhale, upward facing dog, gaze forward. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, gaze forward. Exhale, step or float, forward fold. Inhale, halfway back, halfway lift, flat back, draw your shoulder blades back, forward fold. Inhale, root to rise, strong core, strong legs, Tadasana, mountain pose. Exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, low lunge, step the left toes back, surrender the knee, and inhale, rise, crescent lunge. Exhale, palms to heart center. Lengthen as you hinge forward and hook that left elbow to the outside of the right knee. Drop the right shoulder. Maybe you gaze back over the right shoulder. And then inhale, back through center, crescent lunge. Exhale, palms find the mat. Inhale, high plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale as you shift your gaze forward. And exhale as your feet come to the top of the mat, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fold. And inhale, rise, Tadasana, mountain pose. Exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. And inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, right foot steps back. And inhale, crescent lunge. Exhale, palms to heart center. Revolved crescent. And with your inhale, think of lengthening from the tip of your tailbone to the crown of your head. Rest the left shoulder down into its socket. Inhale, crescent lunge. And exhale, windmill the palms, high plank. Inhale, shift forward, and exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog, and exhale, downward facing dog. Taking 3 breaths here once again. Take any movements that you need. And then settling in as the heels draw closer towards the mat. Inhale, gaze forward, and exhale, step or float, top of the mat, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fold, Inhale, bend your knees, sit your hips back in that imaginary chair. Bring your hands to your hip creases. Gaze down to make sure you can see your toes, and maybe lift your toes and dance them around. Tuck your tail under, like somebody came up and gave you a little pat on the tush you weren't expecting, and you hugged that butt in. And then begin to extend the arms up into chair pose. Relax the shoulders back away from the ears. Palms to heart center, revolved chair. The left elbow hooks to the outside of the right leg. Bring your gaze down to that right foot. Hover, and we're going to step the left foot back, coming into a revolved crescent. You might teeter from side to side, that's just fine. Inhale, crescent lunge, and exhale, open it up, warrior two. Inhale, flying warrior. Straighten the front right leg, tap the palms overhand. Exhale, warrior two. We're going to do that 2 more times. Inhale, flying warrior. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, flying warrior. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, straighten the right leg. Pivot the heel, all 10 toes face towards the left. You can turn those toes slightly in to face one another. Bring your hands to your hips, lengthen your chest. And exhale, Prasarita Padottanasana, wide-legged forward fold. Now imagine that you're trying to scrunch your mat in with your inner feet here. Find a slight bend in your knees, hug the inner thighs up like you're holding an imaginary beach ball between them. And then bring your palms underneath your chest. Inhale, revolved Prasarita, bringing those right fingertips up, but keeping a nice flat back. So you could keep a pot or a cup of tea on your low back, or whatever your beverage of choice is. And then switch it out. Left fingertips towards the ceiling, twisting from the mid-back, from the mid-belly, and then lower. And then bring your hands to your hips. Go ahead and come up. Star pose, heels in, toes out, big opening in the chest, and then exhale, sit down into horse pose. Inhale, star pose, use your legs, use your glutes to lift you up. Exhale, horse. Press those outer knees out. Inhale, star pose. Exhale, horse. Drop your thumbs to the insides of your knees. Drop your right shoulder, stretch towards the left. Inhale, center. Exhale, drop the left shoulder, twist towards the right. Inhale, back through center. Come up to standing, all 10 toes face the left side of the mat. And exhale, Skandasana. Sitting onto the left foot, pivoting those right toes up towards the sky. You can hold your hands at heart center, or you can bring your hands down to rest on the mat. Option to come into a twist. You're going to bring the left upper arm against the left knee, and you're going to peel open into a twist. Slowing the breath. Exhale, bring the hands to the mat, and then either using your hands on the mat or coming back into that left hip, we're going to come into a low lunge facing the front of the mat. Plant your left palm and inhale, peel open, simple twist. Exhale, right hand meets the mat, high plank. Inhale, shift forward. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog for 3 breaths. Maybe you bend your knees, bring your belly back towards your thighs, create that length, and then straighten into the legs. Inhale, gaze forward, and exhale, step or float. feet behind hands, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale, sitting your hips back into that imaginary chair. You can bring your hands to your hips, creases again. Kind of guide them back. Find that scoop under in your tail. Knit those front ribs in and down. And come into that chair pose, hugging those inner knees in towards one another. Slowing the breath here in the hard work. Exhale, palms to heart center, revolved chair, bringing that right elbow to the outside of the left knee, and then making sure that your knees are staying even, your hips are staying low. And then gaze down at that left foot. Plant the left foot, begin to hover the right, and then slowly step back, revolved crescent lunge. Inhale, crescent lunge, and exhale, warrior two. Inhale, flying warrior, straighten the leg, tap the arms overhead. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, flying warrior. And exhale, warrior two. Inhale, flying warrior. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, straighten the leg. Pivot on the left heel, all 10 toes. Face the right side of the mat. You can turn the toes slightly in towards one another. Bring your hands towards your hips. Lengthen your chest up towards the ceiling. And on an exhale, hinge from your hips. Fold forward. Bring the weight towards your toes. You still want to have your heels on the mat, but you want the majority of the weight in your toes. And then sink into this wide-legged forward fold for a moment. Keeping those inner thighs active, pulling up from your feet to the top of your inner thighs. So for me, it helps to imagine that I'm hugging some sort of like giant stability ball or beach ball between my inner thighs to really keep them active. And then come into a halfway lift with a flat back. Ground your right hand underneath your chest, keeping that back flat, heel open into that twisted prasarita, gazing up towards that left thumb. And then exhale, left palm finds the mat, and inhale the right fingertips up towards the ceiling, gazing for that right thumb. And exhale, bring the palm back. Bring the hands to the hips. Come up using your core strength and into a big star pose. So heels in, toes out. And then exhale, sit it down into horse. Inhale, star pose. So using my inner thighs to bring me up and down. Inhale. And exhale. One more time. Inhale, star pose. And exhale, horse. So keeping our chest upright this time, palms in front of the heart center. We're going to lift first our right heel, and then drop it down. Then the left, then drop it down. And then the right, and then the left. And then now maybe we're going to work on opening up, or lifting up rather, both heels. And think about pressing those outer knees out. And holding for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Inhale up to star pose. And exhale, Prasarita Padottanasana, or Skandasana. Why do I keep calling it Prasarita? Skandasana, left toes lift, bending into the right knee. You can bring the right arm or the right tricep against the right inner thigh, and then peel open. Left fingertips towards the sky. Feels so good. Draw that left thumb back. And then with your hands on the floor, we're coming back into that lunge. We're going to make our way into a low lunge. Right palm plants, left fingertips peel open. Again, draw that left thumb back, open up the chest even more. And then exhale, high plank. Inhale, shift forward. Exhale, chaturanga. And inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, half pigeon. Right knee comes behind the right palm. Stretch that left leg back in a nice straight line. And then I want you to think about squaring your shoulders and your hips to the front of the mat. Maintaining some space, so not rolling onto the right hip, but maintaining some space. So if you have a block close by and you like to put a block underneath that right hip, that's an option. And then take a peek back behind that right shoulder, which bumps the right hip back and the left hip forward, just to make sure that that left leg is in a nice straight line. And then go ahead and crawl yourself forward into a nice sleeping pigeon here. And we're going to be here for 6 full, slow, steady rounds of breath. And that's for an inhale of 5 or 6. And an exhale of 5 or 6 times. So if you start to breathe short and choppy, that's just your mind telling your body telling your mind, hey, we need to back out of this a little bit. Come up onto your hands. Maybe you bring a block underneath your forearms. Because the point is to relax and stretch. And if the breath becomes short and choppy, the muscles tense up, and it's totally counterintuitive, totally counteractive to what we're trying to accomplish here. So when we bring our mind to focus on something like our breath, and we slow it, and we bring it steady and under control when we're in this uncomfortable situation here on our mat, when we keep showing up consistently, keep breathing through the uncomfortable, it's a skill that we develop that we can take off of the mat with us. And on your next inhale, go ahead and walk your hands up. Gently come on to that right hip. Extend the left leg out in front of you. And we're going to bring the sole of the right foot to the inside of the left leg for a seated forward fold here. So inhale, find length. And then exhale, hands towards the foot. Drop the right shoulder, tends to creep up. And then begin to melt belly towards the thigh. Inhale, slowly walk your fingertips up. We're going to bring this right foot to the outside of the left leg. We're going to bring the crook of the left elbow to the right knee, and we're going to bring the right hand to the mat behind us, sitting up for a nice, gentle twist. Thinking about that string lifting our chest, the crown of our head up towards the ceiling. And then gaze towards the right or back behind the right shoulder. And then very carefully come back through center. Cross your ankles, plant your palms, step back to a high plank, and we will either flow through our last vinyasa, or you can skip it and meet us in downward facing dog, whatever feels best for you. Inhale that left leg and exhale, half pigeon on the left. So organizing our shoulders facing forward and our hips facing forward. So that might mean that you bend into that left knee a little bit more. Take a peek back over the left shoulder. Make sure that the right leg is in a nice straight line. And as you peek back there, it tends to draw the right hip forward and the left hip back. And then you either stay up on your fingertips, forearms come down to a block, or the forearms come down to the mat. For those 6 slow, steady rounds of breath. And maybe this time you pay attention to how the breath feels as it comes into the body. And you notice how it swirls around in the back of the throat with the exhale. Think about the temperature as you draw the breath in. It's a little bit cooler. And then as the breath leaves the body on the exhale, it's nice and warm. You can fog up a mirror if you had one underneath your nose. And then think about any spots in your body where you could soften. I just noticed my shoulders were kind of tense and creeping up, so I'm going to wiggle them down and back into their sockets. And doing your best to stay in the here and now, not focusing on any noises that are happening around you. And then on your next inhale, walk your hands up. Shift the weight to your left hip. Extend that right leg out in front of you for that seated forward fold. Inhale, lift the arms, and exhale, belly towards thigh. Relaxing your shoulders as you draw your chest towards those toes. And then inhale, come up. Bring the left foot to the outside of the right knee. The right elbow hugs the left knee, and the left palm plants on the mat at the base of the spine. Sitting up nice and straight and tall, lengthening your waist up and out of your hips. And then inhale, carefully come back through center. Hug your knees in, and then roll onto your back for Shavasana. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Stretch your arms long, stretch your toes, and make your way onto your right side in a supported fetal position. Using your left palm, gently press up to a cross-legged seat. Bring your thumbs to heart center, bow your forehead towards your fingertips, and thank yourself here for showing up for yourself, for carving this time out of your day, for consistency. Until next time, friends, continue to move and stay safe.